Greetings, everyone. Welcome. It's another day at Divine Interventions, and I am here. I am Reverend Chris. It is February 27th, and I am here today to talk about fear. And as you can see, the title of this Chrysalis edition is Fear Not. So we'll talk today about a lot of the things that create fear, the reasons we go into fear, and how fear is used against us, and how our own ego minds use fear against us, right? This is not just external forces, it's our ego minds also will do this to us. And we're also, we're going to talk about the ramifications of that and how we get out of fear and out of victimhood and all the things having to do with what's going on in the world today. And specifically right now has to do with this COVID-19 coronavirus scare that's being hyped up all over the place. And yes, I say it's a scare and being hyped up because from the very beginning, if you go back and look at my videos about this virus, I have told you that we should not be afraid, that we should not be worried about it. There's something rotten in Denmark where this goes, and I'm not going to go into that part of it today. We're going to talk about you moving through it and riding that wave that I talked about in the 40,000 foot reading for this week. Okay, riding the wave, staying above it and not getting sucked down into all of it. This is exactly what that was talking about. And all the other drama. So let's go ahead and get started. We will move into our discussion of Fear Not. And at the end of this, the angels are going to come in. We'll have Archangel Michael. We'll have the angel Serviel, who's the angel of courage. We'll have the angel Sandalphon, who's the angel of divine power, to come in and clear from us the things that are keeping us stuck, and unable to get out of that victimhood thing. And maybe we'll even have Raziel come in and disconnect the victimhood matrix from you. Getting a big yes on that. Thank you. So hang around to the end and receive what the angels have come here to give you through me. So let's get moving. So welcome again. Fear not. Truly, really, I watch this news about coronavirus and everything else going on, and I have absolutely no fear about this for myself or my family. I really don't. I'm probably more concerned about them catching the local flu or the regular bug going around that is going to lay them low for a few days. And we take family measures to prevent that and mitigate it. So, we're not taking that from a victimhood state. We're taking that from, okay, this is a possibility. Let's do what we can to counteract it and not allow it or accept it. And that's a big part of what we're doing here today. So what is fear? Well, everybody knows what it feels like, but what is the purpose of it? The original purpose that we were created, when we were created, that fear, this response, was built into us for some reason. Well, the fear was built into us as a protective alarm system. And ringing that alarm bell was our ego's job. Say, hello, there's something going on here you need to be looking at. But the ego's job was not to control us with it or make us powerless to do anything about it. That was not the intent when we were put together and our programs were all run and created. But that has become corrupted. And I won't go through the whole history now because I really want to get down into the meat of this. is, it has to do with the dark grid that's been around the planet, that, the dark forces that have been, corrupting our program to their own ends and to supply, for their own means. And so, but the ego mind took over then and took control and said, and so now we have, how many times a day do you have emotional responses to things and you have no idea what the heck caused that response? What was that all about? Now, if you take a minute to go back and look at it and research it and travel back through the thought process and the reaction, you can probably get to what it was that response came from. But our egos didn't stop to ask us, gee, this is like something that we've experienced before that we weren't too crazy about. How do you want to deal with this? Instead, it said, you got to be in fear. And we just go, oh. And half the time, we're not even quite sure why. We're not digging to find the facts of the situation. And if you listen to my videos, you will have heard me talk about our ego was formed from the time we're born till the time we're about 7 years old. And all of the data that was dumped into our system and our knowing through that time is what our ego mind program is still running on. So something that happened to you when you were 4 years old is still being used as criteria for how the ego approaches what goes on in your life now. Doesn't that just tick you off? It's running your life as if you were 4 years old. And we're still responding as if we were 4 years old. Doesn't that even tick you off more? You may say, well, no, I'm not. I'm doing this or that. No, sorry, it doesn't work that. We are. It's the same response system to the same stimulus, just in a different form. So it's time we got control of this. It's time for us to recognize that everything that brings this fear response up to us is not relevant to who we are and what's going on in our reality now. And trust me, I'm victim to the same thing every once in a while. Things come up that kind of trigger old deep stuff, and it's like, whoa, you get that response. But now I have learned to dig into it, to say, okay, what is really going on here? And once I do, then I can counterbalance it. I can clear that fear energy, and I can say, look, I understand where this came from, but that doesn't apply anymore. And I'm just releasing it, and I'm releasing the beliefs that are sponsoring that fear, because all our fears are coming also from ingrained belief systems that we have about the world around us and who we are and how we're supposed to act in it and all of those things. So fear, when it is brought up to us in the proper situations as a means of saying, look here, there's something going on. And for us to then be actively, consciously involved in the decisions and resolution of the situation and our response to it, that's the way it's supposed to be. We aren't supposed to be just totally controlled like a freaking ping pong ball, batted back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth by whatever our emotion or response our ego minds have decided is appropriate. We have to take back control of our minds. And I hear you now saying, oh yeah, and how do we do that? Well, first, as you're listening to me, and as you're listening to me, you're receiving codes. They're going to help make you more conscious of what's going on, that it is an ego process and that you need to be involved in the resolution of the issue the ego is bringing to you. And to be more conscious of your thoughts and what would have caused the response that you're feeling. And is it a valid response? And some of you may say, well, it's, being afraid of the coronavirus and getting ill and maybe dying, that's a valid response. Fear is a valid response. Fear is only a valid response to the extent that it causes you to take action to counterbalance it, to take back your power from that fear, to take back control and do what is necessary or possible to deal with the source of the fear. And for each of us, that's different. But the fact is that we need to take some kind of, in that case, we can take an action. Now, if there's no action to be taken, if, we're like, for me, I always have extra supplies in my pantry. I can go probably a month on what I have at any time in my pantry. It's just the way I roll, always have. So having extra on hand for me is not an issue. And it's happened, there have been times when I have been snowed in for a week and not been able to get out anywhere and had to have stuff. So, I'm always prepared for contingencies, or the electric goes off for a couple of days and you need to have something on hand. We all have those possibilities. So we should all always have preparedness on hand, right? To be kind of stuck in and unable to get out and get stuff. So that's not something that should be a real issue for most of us. This is something we should be doing anyway. So that once we have that, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm good. So whatever happens, I'm good. And for you to run around and be fearful of catching this virus is not going to help you at all. Once you have done what you can do, let it go and move on. And why is that? Well, shouldn't I be worried about this? Shouldn't I? No, we should never be worried. Never. Worry is a state of victimhood. It says somebody else is in control of us and I have to wonder about what they're going to do and when. No. No worries. It's not a place of power, divine power in our power center. Worry doesn't live in our soul and in our power center. Not even. Our soul and our power center observe and react accordingly, taking whatever measures are deemed in service to our highest good. And we go on. That's where we come from, is in that place of center. So fear now, as it is being ramped up around this virus, actually, I've said right from the beginning that whatever happens with this, and if you go back to my reading, the coronavirus at 40,000 feet, the reading that I did, if you go back to that, and I describe in the reading that I was shown what looked like almost like a long plastic bag, almost clear plastic bag, and inside of it was this like smoky, dark liquid. And this smoky, dark liquid was this virus. And this is not part of the natural world. It was created. And then it was set down into the natural world. and the bag burst open. It leaked out. It got out, and it's covering things. Now, the purpose behind this was, of course, a dark purpose. And that's running its course to a certain degree. But what's happened is the divine forces already knew this was going to happen and have planned ahead and are using this to shine the light on the darkness, on all of the everything that's going on with this. You can't believe what's coming out of China, because they're going to protect their own interest in their own honor, I guess, as much as that would be their own image. Yes, they're going to protect their own image and what they want the world to think about them. But at the same time, you know, it's like you wonder how serious really is this? And there's so many conflicting reports coming out that even some of these things that seem to be real may not be real. They may be coming from someplace else. They may be totally made up in a story that the Chinese want to leak out to make things seem worse than they are, because maybe they're doing this to try and control their own people. Getting a big yes on that. Because we had Hong Kong in revolt, and we had some other protests going on in China, and the Chinese didn't know how to get a hold on that without slaughtering their own people with their military and police forces, you know? And they don't have, that certainly wouldn't have boded well for them. So they found another way to quell and stop this and get everybody indoors and stop them from gathering and communicating. That's one possibility. It's a strong possibility, is like really one of the main things going on here. But also what's happening, so that the light is coming in, and then what is this doing to China as they're doing this? Well, all of these people that are quarantined is killing their economy, which will recover quickly enough once this is done. It will go back. But their economy and their trade affects pretty much the rest of the world. So there is that going on as well. So all of this is coming together, and it's part of the purpose of the dark forces, is to, you know, and to put everybody in panic about this. The number of reported deaths versus the number of those who have been reported as infected does not warrant the kind of panic response that we're seeing. As it spread? Yeah, it spreads quickly. But we had the swine flu was worse than this. Let's take this in perspective. There's a lot being blown out of proportion here, and it's being done on purpose. And it's being done to make you fearful. And what is the greatest tool that it goes all the way, that our culture uses to control us? I won't even say government, because it starts with the family. The biggest tool that is used to control us is fear. You better not do that, or else. Ooh, I'm not going to do that. You know, don't go there because this might happen. If you don't get good grades, you're going to wind up shoveling dirt in a ditch somewhere, right? All of these fears. Then we have, then we have the public fears, and the fears like this disease. And a lot of these fears are propagated and created to control us. You know, fears that are being just manipulated every time you turn around. And have you noticed, if you're paying attention, that it's just one thing after another after another? As it's, they try one thing that's supposed to make us go, oh my God. And we finally get a handle on that and say, oh, I don't think so, not so much. And so then, well, oh, that didn't work, so let's try something else. And they come up with something else. And so we need to get out of that fear cycle. And the other thing that's happening is the reason that we are now being able to see that the dark side is trying something to put fear in all of us and get a response from us. And it kind of like fizzles. The initial response is, oh, and then we are like, nah, not so much. We're not buying that. Sorry. Because we spend some time to research and look and see what's really going on. Because the internet is a wonderful thing. We can find out all kinds of information without listening to the talking head media trying to tell us what to think. And there are enough woke and awakened individuals on this planet right now who are doing that. They're not taking at face value what we're being shown anymore as supposed to be a fearful event. And we are saying, okay, let's wait 48 hours to see what really comes out about this. And then somebody's doing some work digging somewhere and says, yeah, no, this is not real. Or look at this over here and look at that over here. And all of a sudden, it just all falls apart. In the meantime, those who have just been having the wait and see attitude are now not engaged in the fearful response. And that's where we need to be. We need to be in a place where we are accessing our higher knowing when we are looking from that 40,000-foot perspective. Instead of looking at what's at ground level, the drama down here, which is always, low vibrational drama that's being drummed up to keep us in low vibration, by the way, and keep us from ascending and rising up. Because as soon as we get to that place, we are totally uncontrollable. Isn't that a horrible thought? Planet full of naughty kids with nothing to control them. Well, it isn't going to be that bad because we will be in a place where we will recognize, divine love and how love works and to act from that place. But so as we rise up, the effectiveness of all of these different tools to generate fear and to try and control us and control our responses and to keep us in the control matrix, which I also have a video about, you might want to access. 2 videos about that. One is about the control matrix and the other is how we break out of it, what happens. And that's coming soon. Another confirmation with that. So fear is being used as a control tool to keep us in a place of victimhood and powerlessness, thinking that we don't have any power, that we're stuck, that we're victims, that, somebody else has to fix stuff all the time. That is one of the, if there was ever going to be an argument against socialism or communism or any of those isms where government is supposed to take care of everything, that would be it. That is victimhood at a governmental level. That is, we're going to control you. We have all the power and you can't do anything unless we say you can. And don't argue with me that it isn't like that all over. Horse malarkey. At some point, it is. There are things that the government says that you can't do, or medical treatments the government says you can't have. They have control over that. They have control over your transportation and, your money and your taxes and where it gets spent. They say where it gets spent. You don't say where it gets spent and what gets done and who gets helped. And who is this they? What interest do they have in serving your interests? Truly. Right? Problem with the deep state we have in this country. They are operating as a socialist regime, making decisions based on what they believe is the best interest of everybody. And some of them have some pretty sad and sick and nasty ideas about what serves the highest good of everybody else. But they always feel that they're immune from all this stuff. So because they're here, they're high. They're like, whoa, we're making these decisions. We don't have to abide by them. So fear is is a control matrix tool. It is the core element of the control matrix that keeps us in victimhood and powerlessness. So how do we get out of that? Because we get seduced by fear very easily. You know, there are many different forms of fear. And, you know, anxiety, there is sadness, depression, there are, you know, this worry. All of those forms of fear, you know, come into play in efforts to control us. And it's, like I said, it's not just the external environment that's trying to control us this way. It's our own ego mind that's trying to control us, because it's been programmed to do that. And we have been fighting against that internally and externally for our entire existence, not just in this lifetime, but in everyone that came forward since the planet was closed off by the dark grid, since we fell, since the fallen, right? Since the fall. And we've been struggling. And that's where the 144,000 came in, to come in and say, look, we got to do something and help raise the light. So we have been pushing against this and working to raise the light and to raise awareness, all right, and to push back against ego, to push back against the forces of fear and take back our power and our truth. Did you know, and I found this out through my interactions with ETs and spirit ETs, because they were coming to me. I was at a stage at one point where I had discarnate spirit ETs needing to go into the light. And I would have conversations with them before they went so that I could learn things. And one of the things that I have learned, and you will see this also, I think David Wilcock refers to this as well, in a certain way, but all species or races of beings do not have the creative power that we were granted when we were created. They don't have the ability to create their own existence, to create their own experience, to change it through alchemical and spiritual means. They have to do everything through mental and physical means. We have this amazing, great gift of being able to change and create through these alchemical means, this gift that we have been given. And the dark is doing everything in its power to keep us from realizing that and to keep us from using it. Because we could really make their life miserable if we all said, hello, bye. You're not allowed in our reality anymore. getting a big yes on that one, yeah. So, you know, if we all got together and said, hey, we're creating a boundary past which you cannot come. We're putting a light grid around this planet now, and you are not coming into it. Or whatever, all right? But we have that ability, and especially when we work together, when we come into that together, it's amazing what we can do. So how can we get out of fear so that we can get to that place? So we can prevent the control that is being, you know, attempting to be placed upon us and has been for some time. How do we get out of fear around the coronavirus? Well, you just, you know, you do what you can. But even after you do what you can, a lot of people are going to sit in fear, waiting for it to come. Well, I'll give you a newsflash. As creative beings, and if you remember law of attraction, what we put out is what we get back. So your fear of the coronavirus may actually be drawing that experience to you. Think about that before you start getting in fear about it again, or anything else. We are creator beings, and we are always creating our own reality to a great extent, consciously or unconsciously. Let's get more conscious about it. So how do we do that? How do we let go of that fear? And like I said before, first off is getting conscious of the fact that it's happening and it's being used to manipulate your responses. It's your job to decide to take back that control and decide if that response that is being sponsored or triggered is the response that you want to make, is a response that serves your highest good. And fear, staying in fear, never serves your highest good. Another tip, newsflash. Fear and love cannot live in the same place. So if you think that worrying about somebody is because you love them, the worry counteracts any love energies that you might be wanting to put out for that person. Worry is not a symbol of love. Worry is fear, and that is not love. Love doesn't worry about something. Love sees it in its best light. Ooh, you. I'm getting the big charge here today. Yes, absolutely. So anytime you are in fear, love is not there. So let's move in love. I've said this before. Anytime you are in, you feel the fear, then let's move love in. Let's coat and surround that fear with a great big bubble, golden bubble of divine love. And then from that bubble, let's infuse that fear with the divine love. Right? Let's just soak it up in divine love. So what happens? The fear can't exist in the same place in time as the love. So as soon as the love comes in, the fear has to go. And if there's an entity involved with promoting that fear, well, that entity's got to go. Now, sometimes, and I will say this, there are times when we have entities that are promoting fear. And when we try and put love on the fear, we aren't really putting the love around the entity that is creating the fear. So it's going to continue working. If you come against a fear, one of those unreasonable fears, and I've had this before when I had issues with my car years ago. The car would need some kind of repair, and for some reason I would go into a great big panic about how that was going to get taken care of, or what I was going to do, or how I was going to run the car, or blah, 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 blah. I mean, huge, unreasoning fear, something that is not part of my normal response set. And I got into it after saying, look, this isn't, saying to myself, this isn't right. There's something going on here, because I was trying to counteract it and look at, and it turned out that there was just that. There was an entity who was using the car as a way to create fear, and it just kept hammering at me and creating more fear because of what? Negative entities and the dark feed off of these dark, these fearful emotional energies, the Lush energy. All right. They also feed off of powerlessness and victimhood, because that's their thing, is gaining power over you and feeding on your state of powerlessness and taking your power from you. That's a real thing. So first thing is to understand that we're in fear and replace it with love. Every fear that we have is something that is some kind of a wound or something hiding in our energy fields, in our light body matrix, something hiding that wants to be seen and needs to be healed and let go of. So we can't just send love to the fear and see it dissolve and think that it's going to totally go away until we address the cause, the causal factor. It's going to come back. So we have to do the work to do that. We have to get down and address the causal factors. I work in the energy fields with my clients, and I see how this works all the time. So you have to get rid of the causal factor. And it may be easier when you are approaching a fear, because gratitude is also a love energy, is to have as your first response after you have said, okay, oh my God, I have fear, and then something lights up and says, wait a minute, let's look at this. And your first response can be, Heavenly Father, dear God, my divine team, higher self, thank you for bringing this to my attention so that I can see this and release it now. And then you can go do the work. But that thank you, that gratitude for bringing this out in the open to you is a love energy that will immediately start to dissipate the fear energy and bring you back into your own power and self. Because gratitude is an expression of power. You are recognizing your power and you're expressing from that place when you give gratitude for somebody. All right, so how else are we going to clear our fear responses? To be able to detach, to be able to ride the wave instead of being sucked into the undertow of all of this. We're going to, at this point, we're going to open up the Heart Light Temple. And the angels that I spoke of earlier are going to come in, and we have the angel Serviel, who's the angel of courage. We have the archangel Michael, who's the angel of protection and guardianship. And we have the angel Sandalphon, who is the angel of divine power. And he is the prince, known as the prince of the Seraphim. So all of these angels are very powerful in their own right. And they're going to come in and they're going to work to help you, and Raziel also, yes, with the victimhood. They're going to help you to detach from the fear. Raziel is going to remove the victimhood archetype matrix from you, from your own matrix. And Sandalphon and Serviel are going to help you connect to your own true power, to move into that center of your truth and your divine powerful presence, and that, to instill in you the courage to say no to fear, because courage is a matter of seeing the fear, things that possibilities that could be happen, accepting them or doing what you can, and just moving forward anyway. That's courage. Marching into the fray, so to speak, and putting the fears aside, because you can't march into the fray. You can't go into battle of any kind with fear hanging on to you, because you will not come out well. You have to be bathed in the light of courage and divine power and divine protection and all of that. So that's what the angels are going to come in here to do for you this evening. And it is a real blessing that I have been guided to offer you. And so here we go. We're going to get into the temple and let's get moving, because we've already been at this for almost an hour and we need to get done. But you need to get what you need to stay out of fear. and ride the wave. So if you're with me, take a deep breath in through your nose. Imagine you're pulling in white light through your crown chakra as you do, and out through your mouth. And again. And one more time. And sit back and relax. Almighty and Most High, Father, Mother, God, divine source of all that is and light of the great central sun, I welcome you to the Heartlight Temple of Angelic Healing this night, Heavenly Father, and thank you for your presence here with us. As I invoke this temple to surround all of us here now and whoever will be watching this video in its holy light and presence. And I intend that this temple shall remain fully present, as it is now, throughout the remainder of this video, being dissolved only after this video is concluded and 10 minutes after that. So be it, and so it is. This temple is made of blocks of divine light, pure white divine light. And nothing is allowed inside the temple that is not allowed of composed of light or in alignment with it. No attachments, no entities. These are all kept out of the temple, and I'm cutting those attachments now. Almighty and Most High, beloved Archangel Michael, I call upon you and your blue lightning angels to surround this temple space and above and below, surrounding all of us, that this temple enfolds those who are here now and those whose higher selves and guardian teams are holding their space. I ask you, Michael, to surround this temple and above and below, to shield, defend, and protect it from all intrusion, interference, and attachment that is not of the light or in service to it, is of entity, origin, intent, creation, design, or purpose, or in service to that, is not in service to our highest good, or is other than in full support of the goals and purposes for which this temple has been invoked this day. And I intend, Michael, that this protection of this temple space, your protection and the blue lightning angels, in all of its forms, shall be maintained throughout the entirety of this session in the temple's presence at this time and for this purpose. Beloved Archangel Michael, please now apply this protective protocol to within the space within this circle of your protection, within the temple space. Wow. There are a lot of fear attachments, and there are strong ones here in the temple right now. You're in the right place at the right time for us to help you release these. Michael, please cut and cauterize all cords, connections, and attachments and entanglements from all here, all represented in the temple, whenever here and now is for each one of them. Cut and cauterize these attachments. And they are to be taken outside the temple boundaries. They are to remain throughout the entirety of this session and the temple's presence at this time. And please clear from us the things that are sponsoring these attachments, and remove from us all entity presences and attachments in their works, and take them up into the vortex of divine source coming down through the roof of the temple, Heavenly Father, to be removed fully from this temple space. Almighty and Most High Father, Mother God, I ask now that you place a blessing of love and light upon this temple space, and above and below, within and around. So bless this space to our use in love and light, and into all of our service in your name. So be it, and so it is. Thank you. Beloved Archangel Michael, please prepare us to receive what is being offered here tonight, clearing away anything that would hinder our full ability to receive and to release all that will be done tonight. All right, are we ready? Thank you. All right, so who's coming up first? Raziel. The angel Raziel, who is the angel of knowledge, the Akashic records. Pretty much, if there is a way to do anything, Raziel has access to it. And one of the things that Raziel oversees are the archetypes. And archetypes are personality profiles, and we can all recognize them because we know who the victim is, right? You can say they're playing the victim. We know exactly what you're talking about. Well, that is an archetype, victimhood and powerlessness, that in its negative form, in its shadow form, does what we're experiencing. It's used to control us, to make us helpless, powerlessness, controllable, malleable, sheep, okay? In its light aspect, victimhood makes us aware that there's something coming to us that is trying to make us and put us in that victim state, okay? But we're going to clear that archetype from us in totality, Raziel. We're going to clear the shadow archetype. All right. So Raziel is going to detach the matrix of that victimhood, the shadow archetype of the victimhood. He's going to clear that from us and from our Tauruses, disconnect it from us in totality, and dissolve it, because each of us have our own version of it. We aren't connected to the master version. So Raziel, right now, sit back, close your eyes, and be comfortable. Raziel is removing the shadow archetype from us in totality, disconnecting it from our Taurus and our matrix and the physical and light bodies. I'm going to call in Stamara, and beloved Stamara, help us all to release this. There are some of you who don't want to let go of it. There's a lot of ego fear about letting go of the victim. So what do we do if we're not a victim? We're going to learn that. Please detach these archetypal constructs, beloved Raziel, and dissolve them. Raphael, come in now and heal these attachment points while Raziel is dissolving this. Heal the attachment points and remove all vestiges of victimhood, this shadow victimhood archetype from them, and anything that resonates with it. And let's heal. Who's going to do that? Is that Serviel going to do that? All right, we'll call Serviel to do that. All right, Raziel, have these constructs been dissolved? All right, remove them from us here and at all times, past, present, and future, on our timelines and timeline programming and our soul spheres. And also, I'm being guided to ask for you to remove this shadow archetype of the victim from our palace of possibilities in totality throughout our time-space continuum. And I intend for each one of us that this shadow archetype of the victim no longer exists in our reality, or any reality of which we are a part. It no longer exists for us, and never has and never will. It is erased in totality. I declare it so for all of us, and so it is. Thank you, Raziel. Thank you, Raphael. I'm going to call in the beloved Angel Serviel now. And the Angel Serviel is going to heal all of the consequences of this victim archetype being prevalent in our system. Is going to heal the wounds and disrupt and remove the patterns of response that these fear-inducing things have been creating in us, the victimhood response pattern. So he's going to remove all of that and anything else he sees necessary to remove for us, so that we are fully released from all effects and consequences of this archetypal presence. Wow. And again, Stamara, please come in. Stamara is the angel of forgiveness, letting go, release. Please help us to release all of these things easily. And Metatron, please come now and detach our ego minds from them. Thank you. And again, Michael, remove all entities connected to these things into the vortex of divine source, up through the temple. We're done, Serviel. All right, so let's install the positive patterns of response and overlay them with truth. And I overlay them with truth because it's always helpful for us to be able to see the truth, right? See the truth in order to know what our best response is in any given situation. So we need to see the truth. And I'm asking Serviel to overlay that into these new response patterns that he's creating. We're making possible. So now, Serviel, is there anything else you wish to do? We're going to install courage. No, we're going to detach from fear. All right, so one end of this was the victimhood. So the other side is the fear, which is sponsoring the victimhood. And we need to be detaching from that as well. So we're going to let Serviel continue his work here to help us detach from that fear so that we can move forward in courage. To rise above what's at ground level, to get out from under the wave, being tossed around, To restore presence of mind. It interrupts the fear response at the point where it's no longer useful. Are you complete, Serviel, with doing everything that you came here to do? Thank you, dear one. Well, there's a little more here. Yeah, we're clearing out some stuff in the autonomic nervous system, which is down from the base of your skull down your neck, the cervical vertebrae. All it runs through that, the trunk there. There's a lot of automatic programming that's embedded there, attached there, that causes automatic responses. And so he's clearing out some of those, or all of those, as many as need be cleared. Do not serve us. Because you'll notice I have not anywhere in this said that fear was totally unnecessary and we should never feel fear. Fear has a place and a purpose. When it has served that purpose, it needs to be set aside. It is not meant to be a permanent condition of our existence. Yes, Ariel, I hear you. Yes. So now we're going to call on, is it your turn, Sandalphon? Yep, he's there. All right. So Sandalphon's coming in now, and Sandalphon's going to connect us to our true divine power, our divine self. And you may notice a real difference after he does this, not right now maybe, but in the days following, because now that we have shifted over and are fully rooted in the 5D New Earth timeline and matrix, all of these things that are attuned to light and higher vibrations are going to be much more noticeable as we move into them. And we are going to start noticing much more easily the contrast between this and that, right? When we are out of our power center, we're going to know it right away, because we're just going to feel that tick, or whatever you want to call it, that hit energetically, that kind of says, that signal that says, nope, we're not there. Let's get back in that place. All right. And it doesn't have to be instantaneous. When you notice that that's happening, sometimes you just have to let the first fear response run through you. Take a deep breath and say, okay, now let's get back to this place and see what's really going on and respond from there. So the key there is that when you are in fear, don't, unless it's running from a raging bull, a killer, or a car, or something else, as dire as that. When you are in a fear situation, one of these invisible emotional fears, right? Fear, the what if fears. Learn not to take any action until you have come back into this place of power and center, so that you make a more informed response to resolve the issue in whatever way is possible to do that. Or that response may be just saying, no, letting go of the fear, and we're going to watch this play out. Okay. So Sandalphon now is coming in, and he is going to, again, connect you with, attach you to, energetically and consciously, your power center, your divine core of truth, and your own self and your divine self, where that is and where you're all headed as we ascend. So Sandalphon, please come now and do this. Yep. I know, like the rest of you, he was waiting for me to stop talking. Okay. And what I'm sensing that there are a number of you who, like me, I've been working with this, are still attached to 3D response patterns and beliefs around power and your own power and where that comes from, and what it feels like. What do you do with it? He's centering you in the 5D power structure and grid. I feel that. Oof. Michael, again, please remove any entities that are in opposition to this at all times on everyone's timelines in which they are present and from their timeline programming, past, present, and future, throughout eternity and perpetuity, at all levels, dimensions, and planes of existence and causation, and across all time, space, dimensions, realities, timelines, lifetimes, matrices, collectives, and domains. Clear them out, take them up into the vortex, the divine source, Michael. Done. Out of here. I revoke all contracts and agreements that are causing them to resist. They have no authority in any of our domains that declared so. And so it is. And I intend the doors are closed and sealed behind them in perpetuity. That nothing is allowed to open those doors again. And so it is. All right, Sandalphon continues. Are you creating the soul star connection? No. Eliminating it. You're giving us a stepping stone. All right, so what Sandalphon is doing is, if you watched my Ascension Minutes video, the last one that I did, talking about it's happening, is one of the stages of the ascension as we truly move into our divine presence and self, is that our center of receiving and knowing moves from our crown chakra, which we have all been working on. This is where stuff comes into us. The crown chakra is now moved up to our soul star chakra. And we receive now directly through the soul star. We don't receive through the causal to the crown anymore. We may do some, but you know, the causal chakra is being directed differently. It's being directed by our divine self. So we are receiving directly through the soul star chakra, which is, you know, way up there, is in essence the third eye chakra of our divine self, operates in that way. And so it comes down and it hooks into us at third eye level for each one of us, right? We're here. So Sandalphon is literally activating that soul star center for you to receive information and divine power and presence through that without anything diluting it between the time it gets to the soul star and it comes to you and your awareness. So it's helping you move up in that awareness and move up into your extended state of being as a powerful divine being. That's where we're going. So let's just let him Complete that. And I can only assume that everybody that's here now, whenever that now is fully ready to get into this state and to move into that place of connection and that place of receiving unfettered truth. See, because the other thing that happens here is the ego mind has had access to our crown chakra and our third eye and interfering with the information that comes into that. And so now by moving us up into the soul star, into that access, that part of our divine self, our true self, it kind of bypasses that ego interference. So you may notice that a lot, that you're getting more information that seems clearer without a lot of anything getting in the way. So, all right, Sandovan. Are we now fully connected to our power centers? Please bring our ego diva and our body wisdom into connection, our body diva. And clear everything from our DNA and cell memory that is opposed to this connection and use of our own true divine power. As well as clear this from our soul matrices, programs, templates, blueprints, programs and archives. And then please install Seraphim supporting encodings into our DNA to replace those that have been cleared. DNA and cell memory. And this is to be done at all times, past, present, future, on our timeline, in all levels, dimensions, and planes of existence and causation. And please inform our chakra divas and update them and upgrade them. Thank you. Anything else? Well, good, peeps. All right, Michael, please clear any remaining entities that may be promoting powerlessness, victimhood, or fear from everyone gathered here now, whenever that now is, and take them all into the vortex of divine source, up through the light in the temple, up to God. To be dealt with according to the highest good, and remove these things from everyone here and all other source hosts, objects, and locations. Let them be removed from all access to the physical plane and dealt with according to the will of the one true God of all it is. So be it, and so it is. Thank you. All right, Michael, please clear the debris of this session from everyone's energy fields. And remove from us everything that this debris attaches us to. I ask now, beloved angels, Heavenly Father, that all the work that was done here for everyone tonight is divinely sealed, so that it cannot be undone, uncreated, dismantled, reversed, or removed in any way, by any means, from any source, for any reason. That includes any non-vocal or vibrational commands or attempts to change this. So be it and so it is. Thank you. All right, beloved angel Charmian, please come now and restore harmony to all of our systems, to integrate fully, easily, and gently all the work that has been done here today, but to make it fully manifest in each of our existence and experience. And to clear from us and release all that remains in discord. So be it and so it is. Thank you. Beloved angel Ariel, please come now and ground everybody's energies down through their Earth Star chakra. Oh yeah, boy, there are a lot of you. No grounding. Yep. Do this every time you can think about it. Just ground your energies down through the Earth Star. You need those Earth energies. You need to release negative stuff down through into the Earth for cleansing. Open everyone to divine flow, beloved Ariel, through their physical and light body matrices. Unbalance everyone's polarities, please. Thank you. Thank you, my beloved angel team, everyone that has come here today to do the work for all of us here. We thank you most heartily for your work on our behalf, beloved ones. We thank you. And now to everyone here. You may be tired, you may feel sleepy as a result of the work that's done, because there's some reorganization having to go on in your energy fields, and that's going to take some energy to do that. So, and your head may feel a little bit foggy because there are a lot of thoughts going on that were not thoughts, but thought structures, and behavior patterns that were disconnected and removed. So there's reorganization going all over. So if you're listening to this in the evening, go to bed, and you should be feeling much better when you get up in the morning. If you're listening at any other time of day, just understand that you may wind up feeling lethargic after this is done for a while, but that's normal. So I thank you all. You all got a great gift today from the angels, and I hope that you have enjoyed this session with me of the Chrysalis and the information that has come through that I have passed forward to you. All of that has been done here in the temple by our angel teams. And I ask that you receive the blessing of all of this with the greatest of ease. And are able to incorporate this easily, swiftly, and with great simplicity and presence into your lives. I thank you. Thank you all for being here. I love you all, and see you next time on the Chrysalis. No fear. Fear not. Ride the wave, peeps. We shall see you soon.